Hey everyone, you ever feel like your money just disappears? Like you check your bank account and poof, it's gone. Like it went on vacation without you. Yeah, me too. But what if I told you that there's a way to make your money work harder than you? A way to turn small savings into big wealth without lifting a finger. This, my friends, is the magic of compound interest. It's like planting a tiny money seed today and watching it grow into a full blown money tree years later. And the best part? You don't even have to be a financial genius to make it work. Let me ask you something. Would you rather have $1 million today or a penny that doubles every day for a month? Most people say, give me the million. But here's the kicker, the doubling penny, it turns into over $5 million in just 30 days. That's compound interest at work. Small, consistent growth snowballing into something massive. Yeah, I know. If only somebody had told us this when we were kids, right? Instead, we were busy checking Pokemon cards and eating Lunchables. But it's not too late. Whether you're in your 20s, 30s, 40s, or even 50s, compound interest can still work wonders for you as long as you start. Here's the catch, compound interest's best friend is time. The longer you let your money grow, the bigger the payoff. Think of it like a snowball rolling down a hill. At first, it's just small and tiny, but give it enough time and suddenly you've got an avalanche of wealth. So, if you're curious about how to take advantage of this, how to avoid common mistakes, and how to make sure that your money is actually working for you instead of just sitting there doing nothing, stick around. Because by the end of this video, you'll know exactly how to turn your small savings into big success. What is compound interest? Alright, let's break this down in the simplest way possible. Imagine that you have a dollar, just one. It's lonely sitting in your bank account not doing much. Just like me on a Friday night before I learned about investing. But what if that dollar could start making friends? And those friends could invite more friends. And suddenly you've got a whole party of dollars. That's basically how compound interest works. Technically speaking, compound interest is interest on your interest. Sounds fancy, but all it means is that your money earns interest, and then that interest earns even more interest over time. It's like a snowball rolling down a hill, small at first, but the more it rolls, the bigger it gets. So we need to take a look at this formula for compound interest, and I'll break it down for you all. I know that formulas can look a bit intimidating, but let me break it down. A here is the final amount that you'll have. P is your starting money or principal. R is the annual interest rate as a decimal. N is how often the interest is applied every year. And then T is the number of years. So let's just skip all these numbers and use a real world example. Let's say you invest $1,000 at 10% annual interest rate. If it's simple interest, you'll earn like $100 every year. That's a little boring. But with compound interest, that's when things get really spicy. After 1 year, you'll have $1,100. But instead of just earning interest on the original $1,000, now your new total earns interest. So in year two, you don't just get another $100, you get $110 because the $100 from last year is now earning interest too. Fast forward 20 years, and that $1,000 isn't 3,000 or 5,000. It's over $6,700 just because you let it sit and grow. Crazy, right? Your money is literally multiplying while you do nothing. That is how the rich get richer, not by working harder, but by making their money work smarter. And trust me, once you understand this, you'll never look at savings the same way again. The power of time and starting early. Alright, let's talk about time. Because when it comes to compound interest, time isn't just money, it's a lot of money. Let's take two people. Let's call them Smart Sam and Late Larry. Smart Sam starts investing at 20 years old. He puts in $5,000 per year for just 10 years, then stops. That's a total of $50,000 invested. Done. He doesn't touch it again. Meanwhile, Late Larry decides to wait. He starts investing at 30 years old, but to catch up, he invests $5,000 per year for 30 years. three times longer than Sam. He puts in a total of $150,000. Here's where it gets crazy. By the time they both hit 60, who has more money? You'd think it's late Larry, right? After all, he invested three times as much. Wrong. Thanks to compound interest, Smart Sam ends up with over $1.1 million, dollars, while late Larry, who invested for three times as long, only has about $900,000. Why? Because time beats the amount invested. Sam's money had an extra 10 years to grow, and that made all the difference. This is why starting early is so important. The longer your money sits, the harder it works for you. So, whether you're 18, 28, or 38, the best time to start investing was yesterday, and the second best time is right now. Alright, let's make this real. Do you ever grab like a $5 cup of coffee and think it's just $5, no big deal? Well, what if I told you that daily coffee habit could be costing you hundreds of thousands of dollars? Okay, wait. Now, before you all come after me, let me be clear. I'm not telling you to give up coffee. I love coffee. I buy a lot of coffee outside. This is just an example to put things into perspective. Okay, so let's do the coffee versus investing challenge. Let's say you spend $5 a day on coffee. That's $150 per month. Now, instead of buying coffee, what if you invested that $150 into a simple index fund earning 10% returns per year? After 10 years, that's $30,000. After 30 years, that's $300,000. That's a retirement fund, or a beach house, or a lifetime supply of coffee. The point isn't to cut coffee, but to see how small spending adds up over time. All right, let's look at another example, increasing contributions over time. Now, let's say that you start small, maybe $100 per month, but increase your contributions as you earn more. So instead of staying at $100, you bump it to $200, then $500, then $1,000 over time. With compound interest, those increases skyrocket your wealth. Someone who starts small but consistently increases their investment will outperform someone who saves the same amount forever. Let's look at Warren Buffett, the king of compound interest. You all know about Warren Buffett, right? One of the richest man in the world. Over 99% of his wealth came after his 50s because he started investing as a kid and let compound interest do the heavy lifting. The lesson: small habits today lead to massive returns tomorrow. So enjoy your coffee, but also invest in your future. The mistakes that destroy compound growth. All right, we have talked about how powerful compound interest is, but now let's talk about the mistakes that can completely wreck your growth. Because trust me, there are a few surefire ways to turn your golden retirement dream into an underwhelming savings account. Mistake 1: not investing early enough. The biggest mistake: waiting too long to start. You might think, well, I'll start investing when I make more money. But every year that you wait, you're leaving thousands or sometimes millions on the table. Remember Smart Sam versus late Larry? Sam invested for about 10 years and ended up wealthier than Larry, who invested for three times as long. Time is your best friend, so the sooner you start, the better. Mistake number 2: pulling money out too soon. Now imagine planting an apple tree, and just as it starts to grow, you chop it down. That's what happens when you pull money out of your investments too early. Compound growth needs time. The longer your money stays in, the bigger it grows. So if you keep withdrawing, you're cutting off the magic before it gets time to flourish. This is why retirement accounts like 401ks work so well. You literally cannot touch the money without penalties. Sometimes protecting yourself from yourself is the best investment strategy. Mistake number 3: not reinvesting dividends. Now, here's a mistake that even experienced investors make: not reinvesting dividends. Some stocks and funds pay you money just for owning them. If you take that money and spend it, you miss out on huge compounding potential. Reinvest those dividends, and suddenly your earnings start earning earnings. It's free money, so let it snowball. Mistake number 4: keeping money in low yield accounts. Okay, this one really hurts me. You work hard, you save a lot of money, and then you leave it in a 0.01% savings account. That's like running a marathon and stopping one step before the finish line. High yield savings accounts are better, but they still don't grow wealth. Investing in assets that outpace inflation, like stocks, ETFs, and real estate, is the key to real compound interest. Even an index fund or a target date fund is going to earn you so much more money than just leaving that money in a high yield savings account. Now, if you're wondering what I personally like for safe long term investing, here are some great index funds to consider. Fidelity Zero Large Cap Index Fund, a zero expense ratio fund that tracks large cap stocks. Fidelity 500 Index Fund, FXAIX, a solid S&P 500 index fund with a low expense ratio. Vanguard S&P 500 ETF or VOO, one of the most popular and reliable ETFs tracking the S&P 500. Fidelity Zero Total Market Index Fund. This is an excellent choice for hands-off long-term investing. So, if you want compound interest to work for you, start early. Stay invested, reinvest your dividends, and don't let your money rot in low interest savings accounts. Do these now, and your future self will thank you. How to take advantage of compound interest today. So, now that we have understood compound interest, let's talk about how you can start taking advantage of it today. And trust me, the sooner you start, the sooner you'll see results. Step 1. Open a 401k, Roth IRA, or brokerage account. First things first, open an account. If you're working, the best place to start is a 401k. It's a retirement account where your employer may even match your contributions, and that's free money. If you don't have access to 401ks, no worries. Roth IRAs and brokerage accounts are fantastic options for building wealth. Roth IRAs are tax free on the way out, so you can keep more of your gains. Step 2. Invest in index funds, ETFs, or dividend stocks. These type of investments are perfect for long-term growth. Why? Because they are broad, diversified, and generally low risk. I personally love index funds and ETFs because they give you exposure to the entire market, like the S&P 500. So instead of cherry picking like individual stocks and looking at the market go up and down every day, it's so simple to just invest in an index fund and know that long term, like the S&P 500 is going to outperform like what any financial advisor would recommend you to invest in. Step 3. Automate savings and increase contributions yearly. Automation is your best friend. Set up automatic transfers to your investment account so that you don't even have to think about it. Even $50 a month is a great start. Then, every year, increase your contributions. Just a little more each year can make a huge difference down the road thanks to compound interest. Step 4. Stay invested long term. Patience is key. Finally, the most important step. Stay invested long term. This is where most people mess up. They panic when the market drops. But remember, compound interest thrives on time and patience. Stick to your plan, ride out the bumps, and let your money work for you. Follow these steps, and you'll be setting yourself up for a future full of financial freedom. I promise. Alright, let's wrap this up with the key takeaways. The earlier you start, the more wealth you'll build. Compound interest is like planting a tree. You need to give it time to grow. So if you're not already investing, start today. Even if it's just a small amount, over time it can add up to something huge. And remember, time is your best friend when it comes to money. The longer you let your investments grow, the more powerful compound interest becomes. You don't need to be a financial expert, you just need to be consistent and patient. So, take action now. Start investing, automate your savings, and stay the course. Your future self will thank you. If you found this video useful, then please make sure to hit that like button and subscribe for more tips on how to build wealth and take control of your financial future. Trust me, you don't want to miss what's coming up next. I'll see you in the next video. Bye.